For benefit of doubt, Professor Oluwọle Banjọ is the outgoing vice-chancellor of Taisolarin University of Education, Ijagun, Ogun State, Nigeria. From his utterances, and actually he confessed to being part and parcel of ASUU leadership. From his utterances, he justifies everything ASUU is doing. In the words of Professor Banjọ, ASUU is not fighting for personal gains, but for the welfare of students, the university community, and the advancement of academic excellence in Nigeria. ASUU is not fighting for personal gains, but for the welfare of students, the university community, and the advancement of academic excellence in Nigeria. Anyway, I have said that he confessed in the interview he granted the Punch in the Punch of Monday, October 27, 2025. Well, unfortunately, but Professor Banjọ was not asked why a union that is not fighting for personal gains, a workers' union that is not fighting for personal gains, is charging membership fee by salary percentage of fellow workers. You know, nobody asked him that. But the truth of the matter is that a union that is not fighting for personal gains, the leadership in 2012 amended the constitution of the union to be getting 2% of each ASUU member's monthly salary monthly as monthly membership due from the members' salaries, deducted from source before they even see their salaries. Yes, and empowers itself, the leadership empowers itself to increase or decrease the 2% as it deems fit. And Professor Oluwọle Banjọ, as a member of ASUU leadership, going by his own personal self-confession, cannot claim not to be aware that a union that he says is not fighting for personal gain is getting 2% of each member's monthly salary monthly as monthly membership due from fellow workers, 2012 to 2024, and that since 2024 till date, the same ASUU leadership that is not fighting for personal gain has been extorting 3% of each ASUU member's monthly salary monthly. So, Professor Banjọ would have been asked to justify why a workers' union will be charging membership fee, monthly membership fee, by salary percentage of a workers' union in which membership is equal for all the members, but the obligation to the union is not equal for all members, because salary percentage is not equal for all members, in the sense that 2% or 3% is not equal amount of money from each member, because they are not earning the same salary. And what is a workers' union doing with a percentage of each worker's monthly salary monthly, rather than setting a minimal amount of money, a uniform equal amount of money as membership due on monthly basis, minimal amount of money rather than salary percentage. And beyond that, since 2013 till date, ASUU leadership has been collecting bribe from government and calling it the end allowances of the workers, thereby preventing the workers from getting their legitimate end allowances from the employer, the government. Unfortunately, the university's administrators, here represented by Professor Oluwọle Banjọ, and the government are colluding with ASUU leadership to shortchange workers, academic and non-academic, because once the so-called end academic allowance, which is a bribe, is taken from government by ASUU leadership, it is shared with the non-academic unions, and the leaders, academic and non-academic, together with their cronies, become automatic multimillionaire, while giving pittance to common members from the so-called end academic allowance. Where is decency that the leadership of a workers' union is taking bribe and calling it the end allowances, or the end allowance, to leave it where they put it, and calling it the end allowance of the workers? When the end allowances of the workers were never calculated, but a lump sum bribe taken by the leadership and calling it the end allowance of the workers. So this is the type of people you have in university administration and government. No honesty of purpose, no morality, no decency. Because what is decent in the leadership of a workers' union, charging membership fee by salary percentage of the workers on monthly basis, and going and taking bribe from government and calling it the end allowance of the workers? Yet, Professor Oluwọle Banjọ can say that ASUU is not fighting for personal gains, but for the welfare of students, academic, the university community, and the advancement of academic excellence in Nigeria. You see it? Pretending, or well, it's not pretending. It's just his mentality not to see the excesses of ASUU leadership, with particular reference to 2012 and 2013. In 2012, extortion of salary percentage of ASUU members started with 22% and graduated to 3% as from 2024 till date. And since 2013, taking bribe and calling it the end allowance of the workers, which is not. pure extortion of ASUU members. ASUU is not fighting for personal gains, but for the welfare of students, the university community, and the advancement of academic excellence in Nigeria. And having said that, truth cannot be hidden. Professor Banjọ himself has this to say about our university system, despite ASUU leadership, or ASUU under its leadership, always subjecting federal universities to indefinite strike, running into months, 6 months, 7.5 months in a single year. Despite that, Professor Banjọ has this to say about some of our universities. He says, and I quote, "In some universities, you have about 1,000 or 2,000 students in a small lecture theater without a public address system, without electricity. How would those students learn properly?" So where is the gain of ASUU leadership always subjecting our Nigerian universities to many months of strike? Because if you take 6 months, 7.5 months from a single year, what remains? 6 months, less than 6 months left. And all that Professor Banjọ has for ASUU is singing its praise. But of course, he has said he is part and parcel of ASUU leadership. So what do you expect him to say? Since he's sharing in the loot of ASUU, pillaging both the salaries and the allowances of our universities' lecturers. But he has said he is part of ASUU leadership. In the Punch of Monday, October 27, 2025. I check it there. So that is the rot we have in our universities, because the excesses of ASUU leadership. Those who should check the excesses are propping the excesses and benefiting from the excesses. Because since 2013, when the implementation of the 2009 agreement was due, bordering on improved welfare and the increment of salaries for the workers, academic and non-academic. That was the very year ASUU leadership started taking bribe rather than getting government to implement the 2009 agreement. But this is a bribe from which ASUU leaders and their cronies, the non-academic unions leaders and their cronies, become automatic multimillionaire to the detriment of the overwhelming majority common members to whom they give pittance. In some instances, less than 20,000. Is it? To some of the common workers in the academic section and in the non-academic section, sometimes less than 10,000. While the leaders and their cronies become automatic multimillionaire, and so preferring the so-called EAA to the implementation of the 2009 agreement. But ASUU leadership is always using the 2009 agreement to lure its members into supporting strike and embarking on strike, only to end the strike with getting fraudulent and academic allowance. Professor Oluwọle Banjọ, as the vice-chancellor of Taisolari University of Education, Ijagun, Ogun State, closed his eyes to all the excesses of ASUU leadership. Well, of course, he says it's part and parcel of ASUU leadership. So, and that's the irony of it. Some of our vice-chancellors, if not all of them, are part and parcel of ASUU leadership and supporting the corruption of ASUU leadership. So, and government itself prefers to pay bribe rather than implement the 2009 agreement. And that has been the case since 2013 when the implementation was due. With ASUU leadership always using 2009 agreement implementation as excuse to lure its members into supporting strike and embarking on strike. That is the situation we are facing. God Almighty have mercy. But Nigerians, you need to know the fire that is burning your university system. ASUU leadership, the university administrators, and government, the three unholy trinity, bedeviling Nigeria, bedeviling and plaguing Nigeria's university system. Because how do you talk of brain drain? What do you expect with a union taking a percentage of each worker's monthly salary monthly as a monthly membership due and getting bribe, calling it end academic allowance of the workers, and you expect brilliant people to want to join the university system other than as a last resort? So we have to be, so reasonability, conscience, morality have disappeared from the system as it were right now.